This video is going to have a look at food security. It's going to have a look at what food security is and the various ways that we can make sure that people have food security.
So one of the major issues that we have then is the world population is rising very, very quickly.
This means that the production of food must also increase very, very quickly so that we have enough food for everyone to eat. And it's also got to have the right balance of nutrition. This is known as food security.
So there are three different ways that we can increase food production then, and the first one is reducing pest numbers. Now, as you probably guessed from the name, pests are exactly that. They are pests and they stop the yield from being as high as it could be. So one of the key things that farmers will do then, which we've covered previously, is they'll use insecticides. Now these insecticides are things that will just kill the pests that eat and damage those particular crops. They can also genetically modify the plants themselves to produce toxins that kill those pests, as we covered in the previous section looking at the Bt toxin. And they can also do something called crop rotation, which means growing a different cycle of crops in the field every year, which stops the pests that affect that one particular crop building up in certain areas. And last but not least is to use a biological control. This means using living things instead of chemicals to control the pest. So for example, aphids are a pest that eat vegetables, so what people will do is they'll use ladybirds, and those ladybirds are natural predators of aphids, so they can be released into the fields and they keep the aphid numbers down.
Another way to increase the food production is to do something called selective breeding.
This involves selecting the best plants which has a particular characteristics that we want and breeding those in particular. So for example, looking at wheat plants, you want something that has got a high yield of wheat, so something that produces lots and lots of wheat, which is something that's called having large ears. So what you do is you take ones with that high wheat yield and you breed them together. You take the best of the offspring, then you breed those, and the process is repeated and repeated until you've got the highest amount of wheat possible. The final way to increase food production is to use genetic modification. Now we've done a lot of that, so look back at the previous videos if you're not sure.